A jealous ex-husband commits a brutal crime.
McGuffey shot his ex-wife in broad daylight.
Police give chase, but this fugitive disappears into thin air.
He's not here.
Michael E. McGuffey was still armed. He was on the run.
The FBI tracks him to Mexico.
Listen, I need more money.
We knew his mother and his stepfather were helping him out.
To capture this murderer, investigators will need more than just luck. Criminals sometimes try to escape from justice. This is the story of how one man almost got away with it. September 27th, 1993. A fall afternoon in the quaint town of Mount Vernon, Washington, 60 miles north of Seattle. The town promises a quieter suburban life for its residents, but that will soon change. Michael McGuffey is a 27-year-old electrician. He plans to meet with his ex-wife Michelle before she begins her shift as a waitress at Austin's restaurant. He has told her that they need to finalize their taxes.
As per usual, I was hungover, bought a bottle of a rum. So when I get over there, Michelle's not there. She's late. So that puts me in a worse mood.
1 month earlier, their 8-year marriage came to an end. Michelle was granted custody of their 4-year-old daughter.
Michelle, you're late. Told you to meet me.
Michelle has recently started seeing a new man. McGuffey fears her new boyfriend is a sexual predator and is worried about his daughter. He warns Michelle to stop seeing this man.
Don't you ever.
Michelle has no intention of ending the relationship.
I said, if you do it, I'll kill both of you, because I'm not letting anything happen to my little girl. And I guess she didn't take it to heart. And the argument keeps getting hotter and hotter.
Michelle tells McGuffey that she won't stop seeing this new man.
You're not listening to me.
And I just exploded. You're wrong.
Get that word. You're not going anywhere. You hear me? Yeah. Did you see that? Huh? No. You're wrong. You're wrong.
I remember the sound, the explosion, the blood, and basically my mind goes blank after that.
Witnesses who notice the commotion and hear the gunshots call 911.
And then saw him running away from the vehicle and left her in the car and one leg hanging out the door like, you know, she had tried to escape. She had tried to get away.
Police arrive on the scene within minutes. Mark Shipman was a detective with the Mount Vernon Police back in 1993.
I've noted a white female. She was slumped over to the right side of the vehicle and was obviously deceased. She had some severe head trauma.
Shipman and his team of investigators collect evidence and survey the crime scene.
We began our investigations, which of course always starts out with photographing the scene before anything is moved or contaminated in any way. We noted shell casings in the car as well as on the outside of the car.
A crime of this caliber is almost unheard of in the small town of Mount Vernon. Many believe there were early signs that something terrible might happen between Michael and Michelle.
There had been a history of domestic violence between he and Shelley, which led to the eventual divorce between the two of them.
It was clear that it was a very rocky marriage. There were several times where she had tried to leave him and didn't for whatever reason. It seems like quite often because she was afraid that something would happen to her if she left.
Mount Vernon police start an intensive manhunt to find McGuffey.
We continued to interview witnesses, and when we were satisfied that Michael McGuffey was at least a person of interest at that time, or somebody who we had to locate or needed to locate, we put out what we call an ATL, or an attempt to locate, out for him, as well as his vehicle.
There are only 4 detectives in the Mount Vernon Police Department. The team works overtime to locate McGuffey. What they don't realize is that he is right under their noses.
I drove right by the crime scene again with the red car they were looking for. Truthfully, I really thought life was pretty much over at that point.
McGuffey isn't sure where to go, so he drives east. After nearly 3 hours, he reaches Mount Baker National Forest.
And I thought maybe up in the mountains I could find peace. I really wasn't trying to run from the law or anything.
McGuffey sleeps in his car for 2 nights. He doesn't know what to do or where to go. Then, on September 29th, just 2 days after committing the murder, McGuffey drives to the town of Everett.
I drove my car to a mall, so it'd be in with a lot of other cars, so it couldn't be traced, and so the officers couldn't readily find me. Then I took a cab and went to a motel so I could spend the night.
The motel is just 30 miles south of the crime scene.
I still haven't even left the state of Washington. I still don't even plan on leaving or running away or anything else.
Police are still looking.
McGuffey's plans soon change when he hears a local news report.
I finally turned on the radio. I was hoping that I would get some clip of news, and it did talk about it.
McGuffey has been at large for several days and is considered armed and dangerous.
That's when I knew they were looking for me.
Before McGuffey decides his next move, he makes a phone call to the one person he can trust, his mother, Anita.
Hello?
Mama?
I really just had given up. I knew I was going to prison and just had given up until I called my mom, and that's my strength.
Anita tells him that the police are considering McGuffey armed and dangerous. And according to McGuffey, she has some even more disturbing news.
It's not your fault. Nobody blames him.
The officers up there told her that they were going to shoot me on sight and not give me a chance to give up.
Anita fears for her son's safety. She tells him that he only has one choice.
You gotta run, baby. You gotta run.
And so she said, they're not going to give you a chance. Run, baby, run.
Okay.
And that was the start of everything right there.
4 days after the murder, McGuffey starts his getaway. His first move puts police hot on his trail. A local taxi driver has seen a picture of the fugitive on TV and recognizes him as a recent fare. McGuffey boards a bus in Seattle. At the same time, police receive the tip from the taxi driver.
And you're sure this is the guy?
Police race to the bus station, but they're too late. McGuffey's nowhere to be found. Now, fearing that their fugitive is out of state, local officials call in the FBI. Special Agent William Malott is dedicated to fugitive recovery. Mount Vernon Police request his assistance on this case.
Fugitive cases in the Bureau come to us as unlawful flight to avoid prosecution, UFAPs. Typically, the department will come to the FBI and say, we have a fugitive, he's committed this heinous crime, and we have reason to believe he has fled the state to avoid this prosecution. With that information, we can take it to a judge and get the UFAP warrant, and then that allows us to enter the case and to try and locate the fugitive.
Agents track all outbound buses from Seattle, but McGuffey has a plan to outfox authorities.
I went to the bus station in Seattle and bought a ticket down to Los Angeles, California, stopped in Portland, bought another ticket.
McGuffey's strategy is to buy a ticket to a destination, ride halfway there, then get off the bus and buy a new ticket to a new destination. Then start the process over again.
If they were trying to track my movements, then I could at least throw them for a little bit of a loop.
His strategy works. His trail goes ice cold.
I think part of his enjoyment was this game of how can I avoid being captured by the police? How can I outsmart the police? I think that was part of the thrill for him.
Investigators become desperate for any leads.
Well, on his flyer, we printed a bunch of his likes and dislikes. He liked to ride motorcycles. We knew he was liked to lift weights. He was trained as an electrician, so we were consistently getting leads from electricians that maybe he was working in different parts of the country.
One of the few hopes detectives hold on to is that McGuffey will contact a family member. They track down his mother in Texas and ask for her help.
We attempted to explain to them the importance of locating him for not only his safety but ours. We assumed that Michael E. McGuffey was still armed. He was on the run. He knew police were pursuing him, and we didn't want to see law enforcement or anyone else be hurt as a result of his fleeing. Michael's mother, at one point during our first visit with her, told us that she believed that he would probably go out and commit suicide.
I don't know what you're bothering me for. If he did this, he has killed himself by now. Leave me alone.
McGuffey's mother refuses to cooperate, but Detective Shipman gets the sense that she's covering for her son.
I think she really felt like her son was a victim in all this, and obviously she was very protective of him. I think she felt like Shelley was really the instigator of everything that had gone wrong in this relationship.
You are nothing right now, okay? You're not doing anything with your life.
I think she was willing to do whatever she could to protect her son.
Meanwhile, McGuffey continues to work his bus strategy. He's heading for his home state of Texas, where he hopes to get help from his family. After a week of bus travel, McGuffey is running out of money and options. He's desperate for his mother's help, but he fears police are tapping her phone lines. He decides a letter is safer. He tells her he'll be in Dallas in a few days, and he sets up a meeting spot.
I'm about to go to mail that letter to my mom and my stepfather because basically I'm just a little boy that wants to see his mom.
What he doesn't know is police are monitoring her mail, too.
We did mail covers for his parents, looking at their mail to see whether or not they were receiving any correspondence from him.
If police intercept McGuffey's letter, they'll know exactly where and when to pick him up.
You're not going anywhere.
On September 27, 1993, Michael McGuffey shoots and kills his ex-wife. Now he's on the run. He sends a letter to his mother in Brownwood, Texas, asking for help, but police are monitoring her mail. But because he used a courier instead of the U.S. mail system, the letter reaches his mother undetected. McGuffey asks his family to meet him at a designated spot and tells them to bring him some money. Detective Mark Shipman is the lead detective in Mount Vernon, Washington.
The McGuffeys owned and operated a nursing home and some apartments and had some other properties in the Brownwood area. They were influential, and they did have a financial means to help Michael E. McGuffey flee further.
A few days later, McGuffey goes to the meeting place.
I was hesitant. I watched for their car, but I really expected, I expected the police to intercept the letter. And I expect to be caught at that point. But when they showed up, to be truthful, I was just happy to see my mom. When I saw my mom, it's just tears welled up in our eyes, and we hugged each other. She was holding her baby that she didn't know if she was going to see again, and she says, "Mike, I can't believe this happened."
His mother gives McGuffey $10,000 in cash.
I got something for you. It's better than the money.
But his brother gives him something far more valuable. a fake birth certificate.
Thank you.
He says, you know, Mike, you know, if you want to, you can take this little paper ID that I have for a driver's license in Oklahoma and just take that and this birth certificate and see if they'll give you a picture ID.
Okay.
McGuffey makes a quick trip by bus to Oklahoma and comes away with a state-issued ID under the name of Mark Allen Price.
With a paper ID and a birth certificate, they'll hook it just like that in Oklahoma. Once I get my driver's license from Oklahoma, I buy a plane ticket to Houston, and from Houston, I buy one straight to Mexico City, because I figure once I'm on those planes, it'll be hard for them to catch up with me. I just want to get to Mexico, and once I get to Mexico, I figure I can lose them with their bus system in Mexico.
I think one of the frustrating parts of this manhunt is that Mike McGuffey was such an average-looking Joe. I mean, he was about, average size, no real distinguishing features, other than at one point he was a bodybuilder. So I think that made it really tough to put out a description of who you're looking for when he could look like the average guy walking down the street.
It's been 3 weeks since McGuffey started to run. He's made it to Mexico. Federal investigators are following leads, but they are all dead ends.
We thought he was on some fishing boats in Alaska, and we sent leads up there, and they interviewed various boat captains and fishermen and weren't able to determine that he had been up there or was working there.
I really didn't like Mexico City because, I don't know, it was too big and it was too crowded for me. And so I decided to go to Acapulco. This sounds terrible after committing a murder, but I did. I said, I'm going to go to Acapulco. It sounds like a place that I would enjoy being. See if maybe a little beach and sunlight might help clear my mind. I might as well try to have a little bit of fun before I get caught. And I know that sounds greedy and selfish, but I will give it a shot.
Soon after arriving in Acapulco, McGuffey finds a motel and checks in. For the first time, he feels like he might have gotten away with murder. Then, he hears an unexpected knock at the door. What he sees brings panic to his mind. 2 Mexican police officers are knocking at his door.
I look out the peephole, and it's 2 cops. And I said, son of a gun, I knew I shouldn't have came here to Acapulco. It's the first place they're going to look. They're going to catch me in this tourist place. Oh, I said, okay, calm down, Mike. You can handle this. So I pile all the furniture up against the door. Go over the window, look down. Oh my God! It's like 4 or 5 stories up. And there's this little bitty drain pole.
McGuffey considers his options: climb down 5 stories on a thin drain pool, or face the police. McGuffey decides to surrender.
Open the door, and the cops are going, "Sir, you need to give us the pants back you stole." I'm like, "What?" And I'm saying, no. And so they're trying to tell me in broken English that basically the guy on the floor above me had hung his pants out to dry out the window. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to prison because somebody thinks I stole a damn pair of pants.
McGuffey struggles to communicate with the Mexican police. He knows they've got the wrong man. But McGuffey needs to make sure that the police don't find anything that makes them take a closer look at him.
And I really don't want them to find that 10 grand I have in the room, too, because it looks suspicious. Why do you have a tourist here with $10,000 cash? They're going to think I'm down there trying to buy drugs or whatever.
McGuffey quickly realizes resistance is not helping. He decides a different tact is the best way out of the situation.
To this day, I'm still not sure if those pants ever existed or not, or these guys are just looking for a bribe.
Law enforcement in Mexico doesn't have the best of reputations. And for somebody who's got the money, it might be easy to pay your way out of a situation, even if you were to get caught.
It's a close call for McGuffey, something he'll have to be prepared for as a fugitive in Mexico.
I'd really need to know if you had any contact with your son.
Meanwhile,
Michael.
Detective Shipman has Texas authorities re-question McGuffey's mother. He has reason to believe that she's helping her son financially and knows more than she's telling.
Oh, come on now.
Anita had removed over $23,000 from her bank account, and that she had obtained over 20,000 of those dollars in $20 bills. We believe that some of that money was used to further Michael Lee McGuffey's running.
Well, we knew they had money and they were sympathetic to Michael. And we were able to do various records checks. In addition, the local police department down there was very aware of Michael's status as a fugitive. And so they would periodically go by and we would check on certain holidays and on birthdays and things of that nature. And routinely we would re-interview family members to see if they had had any sort of contact with Michael.
Aside from the suspicious withdrawal of money, the FBI cannot find any evidence that McGuffey and his family are in communication. Here, too, McGuffey has devised a plan that keeps agents from picking up his scent.
I never lost contact with my family. What we did is I would call payphones, a payphone in the United States, and we had 3 different payphones. That I would call the first one. If she didn't answer there, then I would go call the second one. And either my brother or my mom would show up at the payphone.
Yeah, listen, can you send a little bit more money?
I'd talk to them. We'd talk every so often. If I needed some financial help, they would send me, they'd wire the money through Western Union to me.
Where are you at right now?
They did send me a lot of money, and they helped me a lot.
Hey.
In addition to sending money, McGuffey's brother passes along some unnerving news.
Detective Shipman, keeps breathing down our necks, but...
Detective Shipman has been relentlessly questioning McGuffey's mother. When McGuffey hears this, it makes him more determined to avoid capture.
That's what inspired me to not get caught. It really did. Anytime that I even thought about turning myself in, I wouldn't do it just because I wanted to get the better of that person.
Nearly 2 years pass, and McGuffey has settled quietly into Mexican life. In the city of Guadalajara, he supports himself with money from his mother and odd jobs he finds around town.
When I first went to Mexico, I bought a little book, Spanish for tourists, and I learned how to speak 5 sentences. And it started out with 5 sentences, and from that, people would teach me how to speak. Just teach me 1 word or 2 words a day until about 6 months later I could speak Spanish. I stayed away from anybody that could speak English or anybody that was American because I fear that was the best way to get caught.
McGuffey sticks to his plan and sticks to himself for 2 years. That's all about to change. One day, he finds himself at a bar watching football, and he lets down his guard. He notices another American at the bar.
We start talking back and forth, and dude seems like a pretty good guy. He goes, well, I'm a trade consultant here at the consulate here in Guadalajara.
The 2 Americans share round after round and talk about life back in the U.S. Then, according to McGuffey, his new acquaintance lets him in on a secret that catches him completely off guard.
Not really a trade.
So he says, I'm not really a trade consultant. I'm an FBI agent here in Guadalajara.
McGuffey's instinct is to run, but he knows if he does, the agent will become suspicious.
Well, if I run out of there, I know this guy's going to follow me, and he's going to figure out what the hell, or he's at least going to look the wanted sheets and find out.
Instead, McGuffey tries to play it cool. When the agent asks about his life in Mexico, McGuffey gives very general answers.
He said, hey, what are you doing down here? And I said, I'm an electrician. I help people out with little security systems and stuff like that.
McGuffey hopes to change the subject, but his new friend continues to pry, asking question after question.
I'm all paranoid. I think, man, is he really just kind of feeling me out? Is he just playing me is what I'm thinking, so he could ID me.
McGuffey figures the best way to avoid arrest is to make his new friend forget everything about him.
Have another beer. I want to get this guy's mind as fuzzy as it can. Hopefully he can't remember me at all.
According to McGuffey, after hours of drinking. The FBI agent is heavily intoxicated. They make plans to meet again. It's a date McGuffey is determined not to make. Instead, McGuffey packs and immediately leaves Guadalajara. It's his only chance to stay one step ahead of authorities, but he may be too late. The FBI receives an anonymous tip. It identifies a Washington State man fitting the description of Michael McGuffey. Agents in Mexico locate their suspect. Could this be the end of Michael McGuffey's run? In 1993, murder suspect Michael McGuffey flees to Mexico. After 2 years on the lam, the FBI gets a tip to his whereabouts. They think they've got him cornered in Puerto Vallarta. According to McGuffey, Detective Shipman calls McGuffey's family to let them know they're about to catch the fugitive.
My ex-in-laws and the officers and everybody was calling my mom. They were taunting her that they finally won and beat her, and you guys lost. And that really actually turned this into a competition, too, when they did that.
Holding out hope, McGuffey's mother returns to the assigned payphone and waits for her son's call.
Hello?
I called my mom. My mom's sad. She's crying. She goes, "How are you calling me on this phone? You call me from the jail cell?"
Everything's fine. Everything's good.
Like I always do, Mom. She says, you're not in Washington? I said, no.
The FBI's suspect in Puerto Vallarta turns out to be a case of mistaken identity.
Is there a problem?
We did send a lead down to Puerto Vallarta to have a fugitive. We thought it was Michael McGuffey. When they interviewed the subject, it turns out he was a fugitive from Washington State, but for a different crime. They weren't able to arrest him at that moment, but it scared him so much that he fled back to the state of Washington and turned himself in.
While authorities focused on the false lead, McGuffey slips away. He settles in the small town of Santa Anita in order to lay low.
And there's no gringos there, nobody there, very few people there that can even speak any English.
McGuffey soon finds a local bar where he can hang out.
And so after a while, I got to know the bartender and the people that own the bar and got to be really good friends with all of them.
McGuffey feels U.S. authorities will not find him hidden deep within Mexican society. But here, there's a different threat: kidnapping and ransom from local drug cartels.
Down there, they have one guy was called the ear lopper, and they cut pieces of you off and send them to your family. Because if they send a little finger or ear or whatever to your family, it speeds up the money coming.
McGuffey is careful to watch his back.
So I'll go back to the bathroom and notice there's these two guys back there, and one's had another one, I don't know, a brick of Coke about yay big. Just walked in, bad timing.
McGuffey minds his own business, trying to keep a low profile.
So I'll go back there, take a leak, don't even think about it, walk back up to the bar, sit down and start drinking my beer.
McGuffey's friend Lorenzo gives him some bad news.
And then Lorenzo comes over and he goes, "Oh, Mike, you're in trouble. That dude back there thinks you're DEA. He's all paranoid. You saw him give that dude that Coke. He might kill you, man. And he's got his two goons there just, to make sure I don't leave the bar. You're just going to have to talk to him and see if you guys can work something out."
McGuffey has to find a way to convince the drug dealer that he's not a DEA agent. Otherwise, the dealer will kill him in order to keep him quiet.
If he would have done it, nobody in that bar would have ever said anything to cops. It was that kind of bar. It would have been, and I knew that, they knew that.
McGuffey tries to assure the dealer that he's not with the DEA. To prove it, the dealer insists McGuffey use the drugs.
I never done Coke before, so he sliced off big chunks of Coke, and I said, might as well now, I'm dead anyway, and if I don't do this Coke, he's really going to think I'm DEA.
The two men binge on drugs and alcohol all night.
So we sat there, we did Coke till the bar closed.
Peligro, mi amigo.
Finally, the dealer is convinced of McGuffey's story and lets him go. It's another close call, one that makes McGuffey rethink how he lives his life on the run. It's now been over 2 years since the murder of Michelle McGuffey. For Detective Shipman, the trail for her killer has nearly gone cold.
I got something for you. It's better than the money.
But now, investigators learn something about Michael's brother, Shane McGuffey, that could crack the case wide open.
Shane had obtained a Texas state driver's license in the name of Mark Allen Price with his picture on it. It was our belief at that time that Shane had acquired an alias and that he was attempting to legitimatize that alias for his brother Michael.
Now, investigators have a name to look for. They begin to search for pay stubs and wire transfers to the name Mark Allen Price. What's more, the FBI is increasing public awareness on the case in hopes that someone will crack and turn in McGuffey.
If we were able to keep the pressure up and keep him publicized, that eventually someone would come forward with the information that would lead to his arrest, whether because he made someone angry or people got tired of seeing his face on the television. And we also knew he had several aliases, and so we were consistently watching for those names to pop up in different parts of the country.
According to McGuffey, his family now feels it's too risky for him to receive money under his alias.
Hi, honey.
What's wrong?
Well, I can't send you money anymore, Mike.
What?
It's just not safe. I can't.
If the cash dries up, McGuffey cannot survive on the run. It will force him to make a desperate move.
All right, I gotta go. All right.
Michael McGuffey has been on the lam in Mexico for 3 years. His lifeline has been the money his mother Anita wires to his alias. Now, authorities have discovered the name he's using, and the money is about to dry up. McGuffey has had several close calls while on the run. He figures his best bet is to stay away from the bar scene. When he meets Carla Osona, his life takes an unexpected turn.
One day he came into the video store where I was working. I helped him because he didn't have the correct Mexican ID to rent a movie. Then later, he came to my work and asked me out to lunch.
Carla had the prettiest smile, and my insides were so sad that her smile lit up my heart. I went from being paranoid all the time to I got soft.
McGuffey and Carla begin to date. When questions about his life in the U.S. arise, McGuffey slyly avoids the subject.
Where are my
Carla
parents?
doesn't know the truth.
They're in jail.
I had no idea about his past, about his ex-wife and how she died. It came as such a surprise.
Really? What about? What's up?
McGuffey keeps the truth from Carla. Life seems comfortable.
No, I want to marry you.
But her parents are concerned about McGuffey's intentions.
They're like, this guy's just an American, he's using you. Look, you've been together all this time and he hasn't married you. And so Carla comes crying to me and says, basically, is this true that, you're just using me and you don't love me? I said, Carla, I love you with all my heart. She says, how come we don't get married?
There's something I have to tell you.
McGuffey feels that he needs to come clean. He tells Carla the truth about his past.
And I said, Carla, I'm one for murder. I'm one for murdering my first wife.
It really wasn't my fault.
But he told me it wasn't his fault and that it was an accident, and I believed him. In fact, I still do.
I said, I'd love to marry you, but I can't because I don't want to put you in that risk. I love you too much for you to have that hanging over your head for the rest of your life, and especially after they do catch me. And she said she still wanted to marry me.
On April 30th, 1997, McGuffey marries Carla in a Catholic service. Living near Carla's family, McGuffey is able to completely disappear from the radar. In addition, McGuffey contacts his mother and tells her he can start to receive money again.
Hello?
Mom?
Hi, honey.
Hey, listen, I got a new plan.
If she sends it to his wife, Carla, the FBI won't know to trace it.
Carla.
She started sending the money to Carla's name, and Carla would go pick up the money.
This is a great idea, sweetheart. I knew something would work out.
They probably, over about 9 years, probably sent me anywhere from like $80,000 to $100,000.
McGuffey is finally able to establish a new life.
Sure, honey. Yeah.
He feels confident that now he'll never get caught.
I love you too, Mikey.
Love you.
Several years pass without incident. On June 8, 2001, McGuffey and Carla give birth to a son.
He was a great father. He would sing him songs. He would wake up in the middle of the night to feed the baby. He used to take the baby to the park.
Back in the U.S., Detective Shipman has not forgotten the McGuffey case after 8 years. After countless dead ends and a cold trail, Shipman gets advice that puts the case back on track.
Agent DeFonso.
I spoke with an FBI agent in Darien, Connecticut, who had just completed a parallel case to the McGuffey case. And what he told me is, he said, Mark, quit looking for him. Follow the money and you'll find him.
Shipman goes back to the case and looks for new clues in McGuffey's family.
During our investigation, we had learned that Michael Lee McGuffey had a life insurance for $100,000. I contacted the life insurance company and found out that even after the homicide, the premiums were remaining current.
Detective Shipman learns that McGuffey's mother is continuing to make payments on his life insurance. He concludes that number one, her son must still be alive, and number two, she knows where he's living. Finally, officials receive the tip that breaks the case.
Law enforcement is a function of the community, and so some of the biggest cases are solved when someone picks up the telephone and calls in a tip.
Yeah, I got some info for you on McGuffey. Guys, get over there.
The tipster provides them with specific details of the most recent transfer from Anita in Brownwood, Texas, to her son in Mexico.
He was receiving money in Mexico through Western Union. And I was able to determine which store he was receiving money and how often. From that, we were able to contact our assistant legal attaché in Mexico City.
In addition, instead of Carla picking up the money, as she's done for the last few years, this wire will be picked up by McGuffey.
Carla's at home taking care of our son. It's the reason why I was picking up the money myself, is because I had a newborn son. And the doctors said that they wanted us to keep him in the house for the first 6 months of his life.
On November 16, 2001, McGuffey goes to pick up a wire transfer. He's taking a risk by breaking a rule that has kept him safe for years.
I just got overconfident.
McGuffey is picking up the money. Things do not go smoothly.
This person that does all the computer work and everything and types everything in, it seems to be having problems, and the computer seems to be having problems. I'm like, She goes, oh, don't worry about it. Just give me a few minutes and I'll have it worked out and I'll be able to get the money to you.
Outside, Mexican officials set their trap.
I feel about 4 or 5 guys grab me and drag me to the floor from behind. Don't even have a clue who it is at the time. All these guys are in plain clothes. I can see they've got pistols. They're dragging me out of this place. And then as they drag me out, there's a bunch of other guys out there with like AK-47s and stuff. They get me out to the curb and they're trying to put the handcuffs on me. And I'm like, that's not happening. I get my feet on the curb and I see this bus is coming. And so I start shoving us all out front.
As the bus bears down on the men, McGuffey's only hope is that they will let go.
If I get us in front of these buses, these guys are going to let go of me because they want to live.
Guadalajara, Mexico, November 16th, 2001. Michael McGuffey has been on the run for nearly a decade after killing his ex-wife. Now, Mexican immigration officers are trying to arrest him for overstaying his visa. But McGuffey is not going down without a fight.
I catch my feet on that curb, and so I start shoving us all out in front of that bus.
The Mexican immigration officials fail to present identification. McGuffey fears he's being kidnapped. McGuffey is well aware of the gruesome consequences of a kidnapping. He realizes there's only one way out.
If I get us in front of these buses, these guys are going to let go of me because they want to live. And I can go to the other side of the highway because I can take the risk of getting hit by the bus. Maybe I'll die, but it's better than being kidnapped.
At the last second, the men overpower McGuffey and throw him to the curb.
And they finally convinced me that they're immigration officers. And so I let them put on the handcuffs.
Arriba! Arriba!
So on the way to the airport, I said, man, come on, it's just a visa. Here, let me just pay you for the visa. And they said, well, how much money do you have?
$1,000.
I've got a grand I'm picking up at there, and I'll let you have that.
No. The Mexican authorities don't accept the bribe. They take him to the airport. They hand him off to an American federal agent.
We were somewhat creative in how we returned Michael E. McGuffey back to the United States. He had overstayed his time in Mexico, and so he was essentially deported to the United States from Mexico.
I was not arrested for murder. I was arrested because I'd overstayed my visitor's visa in Mexico.
They board a flight for the United States. After 8 years and 2 months, Michael McGuffey is back where it all started. He now comes face to face with the man who has tracked him all these years.
When I saw Mark Shipman, I knew I was caught. I knew it was over.
And he said to me, so you're the one? I said, yes, I'm the one. And he said, well, you can't blame a guy for trying.
I did feel like I got away from the law, and I got overconfident, and because I did feel like I got away from the law, that's the reason why I got caught.
The capture of Michael McGuffey is one of those days in the FBI that you're able to point to and say, specifically on this day, I did something to help my community be a better place.
McGuffey is captured because of the determination of law enforcement, the Mount Vernon Police Department, the FBI, and the Mexican immigration officers.
You know, this is a case where a police department just wouldn't let a case die, and maybe they didn't make all the right decisions all the time, but they just never let it go.
McGuffey enters a plea of guilty for the murder of Michelle McGuffey.
So on the eve of this big murder trial, Mike McGuffey signs a guilty plea, and it starts off sounding very contrite and sad and apologetic for what happened, remorseful. And then suddenly, towards the end, there's this part about, but Shelley may have provoked what happened to her. And the judge who sentenced him was just flabbergasted by it.
Michael McGuffey is sentenced to 26 years in prison. He is ordered to have no contact with his daughter or the victim's family. Michael Lee McGuffey is now a prisoner at the Washington State Penitentiary in Walla Walla. Behind bars, McGuffey reflects on his life on the lam.
Too hard of a life on the run. It's, I tell you what, that is one thing about being on the run. It's like you're burning the candle at both ends. I just feel old and tired. Being in prison, it's basically like being on a holding pattern for death. It's just a big nothingness.